to just jump to another place that may or may not be the time to go there, but it's you'd mentioned to me when we talked earlier about working with Google. So Google Glass was not a product that got. I mean, I guess there was a lot of criticisms, and here you are using Google Glass for a very, very important thing. And then you talked about having a relationship with Google that you can't really talk about, but has that been helpful to you, having a relationship with Google on this type of project?
Yeah, and before I answer that, did you know that Google Glass is actually now launched? It's public now as of yesterday.
Yeah, I just was seeing, I was just seeing news about it, so I wasn't
Well,
sure.
so what that means is now I can actually talk about it.
Well,
so
please talk about it right here and now. That would be great.
so in fact, I think this is probably the first time I'm speaking about the Google Glass, at an official capacity, if you will, because earlier we were under restrictions on how much we talk about the new developments of the glass. So in fact, if we go to the Glass at Work website right now, you will see Aira listed as one of the top 9 companies that they chose for their partners, which is a big deal for a startup company like ours. And in fact, Google did come down to Aira office, and we, not only like the previous conversations, but we are looking at the future as well, right? So, we have proven the technology, we have proven the market, we have real customers out there using the wearable devices. If you think about it, in the augmented reality space with the smart glasses that exist in the industry, Google Glass or other glasses, it is all very much for the enterprise applications.
Yeah.
The other way I would like to put that is it's a scoped environment. When it's a scoped environment, you are using this AR technology or the smart glasses, let's put, because we can argue about what AR means at a later time.
Yeah.
In a building, in a healthcare setting, in a manufacturing setting, in a construction setting, there isn't an application out there using wearable devices or smart glasses that is out there for the consumers, where they can literally use not only in a particular environment, but anywhere in the world, not in the United States, but also even outside, right? So that I think is a big deal, at least from the kinds of technology problems that we are solving. We have to solve for the latency, we have to solve for the network, we have to solve for the bandwidth limitations as well, right? So Google partnership existed more than 2 years from now, and the partnership strengthens, I guess, or strengthening as we make even more progress with our customers. As I was saying, I'm super glad that we can actually speak that we are sending our customers the latest version of the glasses that Google recently announced, and we had access to it for a while now, and that's what we've been sending to our customers.
Are there just a few features of the new glass that that you would say really work well for your service?
Yeah, I can speak to it. So Glass V1 versus Glass V2, or enterprise glass, they call it. The main primary differences that makes a big difference for us is just the power of the CPU is definitely much better. That's a big deal. 2, they do support the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi antennas, which is also a big deal because at the end of the day, for us, networking and network connectivity is super important.
Sure.
Right. And finally, the design and the battery life for the glasses itself. The design is important because it's lightweight. So our users are wearing this almost every day, all day. In some cases, if they're traveling, so they activate it whenever they want. So you don't want a bulky, heavy glasses on your heads at all, right? Nobody wants it. And battery life is again critical, because if our explorers, just think about it, if other explorers are traveling, you may be needing the service off and on multiple times in a day, and you don't want to worry about, once I use it for an hour, I have to charge it again. So the battery life is improved dramatically. Oh my God, I was like so blown away. It's like one of the best things that happened to the newer versions of the glass.
That's awesome.
It's really good.
Okay, well, just changing the topics a little bit here. You've successfully raised venture capital funding for your company.
Hmm.
And I don't know how much of it that was labeled accessibility technology, or I know you have opportunities to go beyond accessibility. At least you have opportunities to go beyond the disability community with your products and services. But can you tell me just a little bit about how it's been, working with VCs and all with your company?
Yeah, yeah, great question. Um, I would start with the investors that we have today in the company. The four major lead investors come from different backgrounds. Lux Capital is one of our investors based in New York, as well as they have an office in Silicon Valley. They focus very much on tech, anywhere
Yeah,
from artificial intelligence to augmented reality to drones and you name it, right?
yeah,
Um, and Arch Ventures is biotech focused. Jazz out in Silicon Valley, they come from a neuroscience background, and finally Arboretum from Ann Arbor, Michigan, they come from medical device background.
yeah,
So if you look at it, that's a totally diverse set of VCs investing in one company. And the problem, maybe a good problem, that we have is we don't know where to place this technology. Is this really an assistive technology? Is this augmented reality? Is, from neuroscientific way of looking at this technology, it is about enhancing human potential, using technology to enhance human potential, because we are seeking this information much rapidly at a dramatic pace than ever before. And there is this theories of how the human brain evolves over time, right? And finally, it is not a medical device, that it is health related, but at the same time, there are few explorers, because now there is Aira, there is a reason to get out the door,
yeah,
to get up and go and do the things, which is obviously healthier lives than being at home all the time. So accessibility, I feel, is one of the definitions of where Aira could fit in, but it may not be the only definition for Aira.
sure,
And if you ask me to choose one industry, I would still be struggling what to choose.
yeah,
So the way we try to position is, it's an augmented reality technology focused on providing the information using auditory perception. Because if you think about people today, we are all are so busy with our visual screens.
right,
Even while walking down the streets, people are sticking to their visual screens. And why are we doing that? Because we are seeking that information. Now, can we provide a solution where you seek information without looking at the visual screens, or at least offload some of that information seeking to your auditory perception, so that way your visual screens are still doing something else. And this goes back into the multitasking, and if human is capable of keeping up with this information seeking, and the short answer is yes. There is research that supports on how human only gets better and better on how well we kind of seek that information. One example is, in 1935 or so, there is a notion that human can never be able to keep up with the attention, the detail, and the reaction that is required for them to drive a car greater than 35 miles an hour, right? So for what it's worth, today we not only drive the cars at superior speeds, but simultaneously we are doing something else. We are actively calling into a meeting, having a
yeah,
conversation, and we are doing something really important, maybe like a business meeting, right? So I think that's where the neuroscience part comes in, which is there could be a time where you would be seeking information simultaneously with two different senses without having to have too many internal distractions. And people talk about it as a little bit of muscle memory as well. So anyways, to your question, VCs look, at least from our perspective, they do look a big picture. There is a clear business model that we have in plans for blind and low vision market itself. And we think blind and low vision market itself is a big market, but it's a tough market, which is, it is not a straightforward thing where you go after the consumers and then people subscribe to it. I think there is consumer market, which is private pay, but there are opportunities within the public sector as well as corporate sector as well. For what it's worth, the research shows that on an yearly basis there is $56 billion of economic loss, and that's discounted the healthcare research and the eye curing research aside. This is
Yeah.
purely the loss for even sighted assistance or economic loss or assistive devices and so forth, and that tells that it's a big market, but you need to create this unique ways for the business model to make it happen.